Hi everyone, it's Tracy here from Art Fibre Stitch. Last time we were looking at a little bit of this gel plate printing. I had done some with my young grandson. Do involve your children in things like this, it's great fun. I had these cardboard cutout circles and I thought I'm going to use them rather than waste them. So the theme was going Dotty. I made a few papers. This one was a little bit of a mess, but we'll see. So I ended up with 4 papers. Here they are. Now, I want to use one of these papers as a unifier. I'm going to use a little bit of this green. I didn't particularly like this one, but I do like the contrast. And I'm tearing it. Can you see if I pull towards me, I get one effect. If I pull away from me, I get another. And it's leaving that white bit of paper on the edge. You can experiment with that. And see, this is where we were in the last one. I'd started with this red background. And I had used a little bit more here, a glue stick. And I'm just cut out some serrated shapes that are still sort of like round shapes, our dotty kind of picture that we've got, but it's making it into something. What do you see in it? Do you see something different to what I would? Everybody does. But using that green, and these are the cutout bits that I had that were waste material, and I just had them when I was doing the gel printing. And I've got red on one side and green on the other. I'm going to spread them around. But I'm also tearing little bits of this here, this green, and I'm making this leaf a little bit more leaf-like because it's just a big expanse at the moment. And that's added some green, and it's also made something more of that leaf, leaving the yellowy bits of the background paper, using that as the vein. But I decide that I want a little bit more colour down in this corner. That's why this is such a great craft for people that don't think that they can draw, who just like to know how a colour goes against another, or these little shapes that draw your attention or balance things out. Just try it in different places and see. This is the third background, and there's a big whitish area here where no paint stuck. So I'm seeing if I can add some more of that green in there whilst I'm deciding what I want to do. That one looks a bit like a postage stamp. And in fact, those circles, or the edges of circles that are on this last print, look like the franking that goes on a postage stamp too. So I'm starting to see something in it. It might not end up like that, but it's just a journey. So here I'm just adding a little bit of green here. So what I will have then is 3 pictures, and they all look like they fit together. Even though they're different, they have that circular theme running through and that same color green. So they're all very different, but they all have something in common as well. And that makes them fit well. Here I'm just using some of those ordinary uncolored circles of cardboard that I had. That was from a punch, and I had plenty of them, and I thought I'm going to use them for something. I love doing that, just finding things that can be used for another purpose. Now we've only just used the glue stick for this to make it easy, but I decided I'm going to go a little bit further. I'm going to add some more color. I want some more vibrancy in this one, some more yellow. I'm using a paintbrush here, and straight from the tube I'm just going to do something like this, where I coat the brush and dab it down out from the center. I mean, it might be a disaster. I don't know, and that's why I don't mind doing things that might not work. I can always cover it up. I can turn it into something else. Just letting it keep going. See, I could cover that flower up with one of those if I wanted. I know I've got a problem in that area. Does something not feel right to you, and you feel like, oh, a little bit here, a little bit there, I'll cover that up, I didn't like that, I'll change that. That's all part of being in the flow. I'm adding some yellow paper centers here of just the paper. Now I'm just using that glue stick because I'm going to later go on and stitch, and really it's just to hold things down where I want whilst I'm designing it. But I'm thinking maybe a little bit more green on this one. To me they look like flowers, that's why I've done those centers there. And I'm just ripping out a little shape here, just a roundish shape, and can you see it's already got a yellowish center? I just chose that bit because it did. And popping that somewhere will help balance. I don't like just having those two greenish colored flowers. So maybe I can use it to cover up that one that I wasn't that happy with. That could work. So I glue that down too. Just a little, coat the paper first and then put it on to the background. I'm going to tear another little bit of this green into a smaller sort of circle or bush kind of shape, or a tree, something. And to balance that heavy piece of those 3 green flowers on the right, I'm just going to pop a little bit of one here. It balances a little bit, makes me feel a little bit more comfortable. So I like this green, but I'm thinking I want to introduce some more yellow. Well, here's a yellow sort of fibrous paper that you can see through, but it doesn't really do it for me. I'm looking now at some tissue paper of different colors, and that's a heavier paper. This tissue paper though, look at how I can see through it. And what you end up with is you already have that center showing through. It's a lighter, brighter yellow, and we can use it like that. So I've kept some circles, I've disguised some circles, I've turned some circles into other things. What a wonderful creative pastime just to play. And that adds that nice splash of yellow, and that makes it a happier, sunnier kind of picture. This is why I like, whether I'm using paper or I'm using fabric or I'm using paint, I really do like to just let it build. I try different things. I don't get too disheartened, and I let it turn into other things if it wants to. It's all about letting it talk to you and what you're comfortable with. You know, that is your taste. See, look at this. I'm going to put another one here. Those rough, torn out shapes of that tissue paper work great. I like that. It kind of looks like a poppy. I think to balance it, instead of having just 2 there, it'd look great with 1 more up here. And now I only have 3 of those white circles, and we've turned the others into something. This one here has got a torn edge on it, so I thought, okay, why not? I'll put a few more sort of ripped pointy bits, and that can look like petals too. This is a very naive kind of picture. I'm not trying to be picture perfect, and I'm not concerned with you know, being a real interpretation of a flower. These are more abstract, fun. It's just an exercise in going with the flow. So I'm going to use some of this yellow mesh. It doesn't do much, but it's a little bit of something. It deadens the brightness of those white circles that we're using as centers. Well, this is really starting to go somewhere now. I think I'm going to finish this one in the next episode. Can you see I've already started to add some embossed black and silver stems? That really gave it a bit of contrast. And in the end, last episode, I'm going to be stitching and doodling with pens. So I hope you join me, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching. Don't forget, you can now donate if you wish.